Welcome everyone to the New Fly Fisher. I'm your host, Bill Spicer. I'm really excited this week. I'm back up with RIVARD and Nipigion River Adventures. I'm meeting up with my guide, Jeff Lawrence, on one of the tributaries that flow into Lake Superior. I've heard there's a few fish around. Let's go see. Hi Jeff, how you doing? It's great to be here. I heard there's a few fish around. What do you think?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Look at them all. Woo! You're going to want to stay with us, folks. We'll talk about the flies, the equipment, and everything you need to know to take these fish. It's going to be another great one, so stay with us. We'll be right back. Oh, baby, look at that fish. Stop, wiggle, on the way down. On today's show, the New Fly Fisher crew is in Ontario's beautiful North Country in the town of Red Rock. Red Rock is located 100 kilometers east of Thunder Bay in northwestern Ontario at the mouth of the Nipigon River. Named for the large red cliffs between Red Rock and Nipigon, Red Rock offers breathtaking scenery which includes rugged cliffs, forests, and sparkling rivers. My guide for today is Jeff Lawrence, owner of Castaway Guide Service. Jeff has promised me some non-stop fly fishing action. I'm really excited about this. We just got here. This is a hole that Jeff has told me about, and it took a bit of getting down here, but it's absolutely gorgeous down here and it's full of fish. I can't wait. Anything that moves my end of my line, I strike. Because you don't know if it's a rock or you don't know it's a fish. Both times those are rocks. One thing about fall salmon, they're all migratory, so they're generally moving. Where you get one day, that's a good fish. You get one day, they're in the pool, the next day they might not be. You're gonna have to go try to find them. And in this case of this guy, he's been in for a while. He's a little darker, got a little bit of white on his fin. Now ideally, a 5-weight would be what you want. I have a 7-weight right now. We expected some bigger fish. They aren't in yet. We're a little bit early. So I've got my 7-weight. I didn't bring a 5-weight, which would have been perfect for this. And just let him go. I thought I got another hit earlier. My bottom fly is gone. I had a pheasant tail nymph on there. I thought I got a hit earlier, and I must have busted him right off. So I'll tie on another fly.
In the springtime, the brook trout, especially between the second and third dams, are very active and very accessible. But at the same time, we get a run of rainbow trout that come up in the spring, and there's also lake trout that come up from Lake Superior, and they're accessible below the first dam. Then a little bit later in the summer, we start to see salmon. And the salmon, there's actually a variety of species of salmon. The first ones that show up tend to be the Chinooks. Then a little bit later, we start to see some pinks, and that's what we've been catching here in the last few days. And then in another week or two, we're going to start to see the coho. Along with that, you get rainbow trout that again make a run in the fall. And then there's basically a subspecies of brook trout called coasters. Coasters are a brook trout that spend most of their time in Lake Superior, but in the fall when they spawn, they start coming up the river. And they show up latter part of August and are here right through September.
It's very important to position yourself properly on the river. You want your fly to reach the fish in a natural way. Sometimes a little up where I am right now because I want it to swing in front of them, or downstream because fish can't see behind them. You can fish up to them. Generally right across isn't a very good position. The fish see you, they're spooky, they generally won't hit. So try to stay out of their sight and position yourself properly. Wowee, Jeff, what a spot. What a spot. First cast. I changed up flies to an egg pattern. And I got a good sized male here. We've seen some coho, which I'm pretty excited about. So hopefully that happens. But here's a good sized male.
That's a lovely male.
Yeah.
See the nice hook on it, the hump
Oh
on
yeah,
the
shaking his head. He's upset with me. And it's a bit of an orange fly. They seem to like it. I guess it reminds them of the spawn, and they'll take it in.
What a beautiful fish.
Lovely fish, isn't it? There's a nice pink salmon up here in the Nipigon area. Lots of them. I just love pink salmon. They're a lot of fun to catch. They fight hard. And from what I'm hearing, they're not bad eating. But again, nice little male. Hold him until he's ready to kick. And away he goes. Known as the humpback salmon, this Pacific salmon was unintentionally introduced into the Great Lakes in the 1950s. The population has maintained itself since then, slowly growing in numbers and spreading to much of Lake Superior, Lake Huron, and Michigan. Adult size for pink salmon is 2 to 7 pounds and about 17 to 19 inches in length. The average lifespan is 2 years. Pink salmon spawning runs begin in the summer in the Great Lakes. Females hollow out a nest in the gravel of a stream bed by lying on one side and beating vigorously with their tails to remove silt and light gravel. The female guards the nest as long as possible, but dies within a few days or weeks of spawning.
The Quebec Lodge was built in 1937 by the pulp and paper company of the day. And it was used pretty much for their customers, their corporate customers, and also for their upper management. In the latter years, it was used as a training center for their management. And 2 years before the mill actually closed down, they stopped using the facility. And when they did close the mill in Red Rock, we were fortunate enough to be able to purchase it from Narampak.
Swinging flies down into the pod. Oh, and he got let go. But the technique I'm using is a straight leader to a beadhead pheasant tail. And what I'm doing is I'm laying it across for me and allowing it to swing into the pod. And I'm only taking the active fish. You're going to be frustrated quite a lot here because you see a lot of fish and they're not taking it. Eventually, an aggressive one will take it, which one? I had one right there. I'm going to try that again. Now, let's see what we got here. Yeah, he grabbed it right in middle of the pack there. You're only going to take the most aggressive fish. There you go, right in the top of the snout. Small little Lake Superior pink salmon. Get you over there you go, bud. So again, all I'm doing, casting across and letting it swing in front of me. I'm staying up away from the fish themselves. You got to stay away from them, otherwise you spook them and they won't hit. Now, today's flies, I started off with egg patterns and dead drifting, but conditions had changed. The water dropped again. It's very clear and very shallow. So I had to switch techniques and I went to swinging flies. Now, steelheaders will tell you that's probably one of the most effective ways of taking steelhead. It also works for salmon. But this is such skinny waters, the larger steelhead flies that I was trying was spooking the fish. So I had to go with traditional nymphs, just swinging them in the current, and it worked in spades. First off, I started with a woolly worm. Now that was a little bit large. I took two fish with it, but it was a little bit big. The fish were being spooked away from me. You could actually see them move away. Then I went to beadhead hare's ears. Now I didn't use any other split shot on the line other than the beadhead on the fly itself. It was perfect to get down to the right depth, and the fish seemed to like it there. The hot fly of the day was the beadhead pheasant tail. As you can see, I have one left, so it's been a very productive fly. Now, when I did run out of beadheads, I did use a regular hare's ear and a regular pheasant tail. Then I did clip a little bit of split shot right on the head of the fly just to get it down under the surface. So in a nutshell, the nymphs swinging them Atlantic salmon style was the ticket of the day. A quality set of polarized sunglasses is of utmost importance. Light reflected from surfaces such as smooth water is generally horizontally polarized. This creates an annoying and sometimes dangerous intensity of light that we experience as glare. Polarized lenses contain a special filter that blocks this type of intense reflected light, reducing glare, thus allowing you to clearly see into the water. There we go. Yes. This is a really aggressive fish. He came about 2 feet over to grab it. Oh, he's taking some line down on me. Good fish. Good fish. What they'll try to do is rub the rock with their face to get rid of the hook. Oh. So important to keep your line up. Another pugnacious little pink salmon. Lots of fun to catch. Nice thing about fly fishing in general, you get to go to these really, really beautiful areas, as you can see around me. Part of the Northern Ontario experience itself. I'm very lucky to live in this province, having all this natural beauty, great fishing, Nipigon, Red Rock areas, just absolutely beautiful, friendly people. Great place to come, I'll tell you. The rods you're going to need when you come to the Nipigon Red Rock area will be anywhere from a 5-weight rod right up to a 9-weight rod, and depending on the species you want to target. In the case of pink salmon, a 5-weight 9-foot rod will be plenty. If you're looking at the Coho Salmon and small Chinooks, a number 7 or an 8-weight. Into the large Chinooks, you're going to need a 9 weight. At this time of year, brook trout is closed, so we don't even want to even think about them. So it's mainly the salmonoids, and if you happen to hit some steelhead, what I have in my hands right now is a 10-foot number 7. I'm hoping for some steelhead. My line is simply a floating line. For the river systems around here, they're pretty shallow. You don't need any sink tip systems at all. This particular line, though, has a bright orange section right at the tip. It's called a nymph line. I found I can go without indicators with this line. And it's also been very helpful when I swung the flies. I just have a 9-foot tapered leader down to about a 4X tippet. I got a little heavier tippet because I want to bring in the fish fast, and I can release them healthy, and they'll take off and continue spawning. So basically, this is what you need in a nutshell. The hook is a Mustad 9671 in sizes 10 through 16. The tail, 4 to 6 pheasant tail fibers. The rib is gold wire. The thorax is peacock herl. The wing case is pheasant tail fibers, and the head a tungsten bead. Yes. There we go. Seems to be all males. I haven't got a female yet. Which is fine. I'd rather leave the females alone. The males are the aggressive ones. They're not really feeding right now. What happens is they're so aggressive, they don't want anything around them. And they'll swipe at anything and try to kill it that's around them. And they're not really feeding. So this bug got a little too close to him, and so he bit it. It's a little bigger one than I got last time. It's a nice little fish. Very aggressive. There we go. And little pheasant tail. I'll catch these all day. I really will. They're a lot of fun to catch. There's lots of them in the river. Especially here. This is probably about the best I've seen as far as numbers are concerned of pink salmon. I've been all through the north here, but this looks like about the best I've seen. It's nice, intimate. As you can see, we haven't run across anybody at all throughout the whole day here. I got the whole river to myself, and Jeff, our guide, just said, how many fish do you figure we passed in this last quarter of a kilometer? And I said, probably a good 1,000 fish. And I'm not joking. You'll see on some of our footage, some of the pools of fish that we have. There's just all sorts of them here. Plus we could bonus on a steelhead. I'm sure I've seen some coho. So it's just an all-around great place to be. The rock fooled me. Sometimes, I'll give you a little hint here, little tip. When you snag up and it's within the fish, you don't want to get closer because you're going to spook them. Try a roll cast first and see if it'll let itself loose by putting the line beyond where the fly is. So like that, hit it, a roll cast, pick it up, and it's out.
There are two basic setups I use today. The first is a dead drift setup using a floating line to a 9-foot tapered leader to 4X fluorocarbon tippet. I placed an indicator approximately 2 times the depth of the water away from the fly, and also my split shot 14 to 16 inches away from the fly. The second setup I use today is for swinging flies, and it uses a floating line to a 9-foot tapered leader down to 10-pound fluorocarbon tippet, and attached to that
a weighted fly.
There we go. Not a very big one. But I can honestly say I've never met a fish I don't like. Thus, I guess, the obsession that I have of fishing. And oh, there he goes. Long line release. That's okay. Now that one, I didn't even see it. I was fishing another fish, and he was down farther, and the line stopped, and I thought, well, that's not where that fish is, and all of a sudden there was a fish there. So you never know. Fishing one fish and another one hits. Boys, this is such a great spot. Such a great spot. Well, we've run out of time for today. I'd like to thank RIVARD at Nipigion River Adventures and Jeff Lawrence for having me up here. Be sure to tune in for part 2 of my fishing adventure in Ontario's beautiful north. For more information on today's show and others in our series, visit us on the web at thenewflyfisher.com. From all of us here at The New Fly Fisher, thanks for joining us, tight lines, and we'll see you next time.